Welcome to another Boosted Films tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at installing Swaybar links on a 2002 Subaru Impreza WRX. This is a pretty common procedure for a lot of cars though, so this may be very similar to a vehicle you're working on if you are changing Swaybar links as well. So first thing we're going to have here is our new front Swaybar links, our rear Swaybar links, and some mounting hardware. And depending on what you're working on and what sway bars you might have, you may also need some spacers. So we're installing some new kartboy sway bar links, and these are a bit stronger and a bit stiffer, and they'll work better for the heavier sway bars we have installed in this car. So of course the first thing you're going to want to do, if you have access to a hoist, you're going to want to put your car up in the air and remove your old sway bar links. If you don't have a hoist, that's okay too. You just use a jack and you should be able to do one side at a time. I will note that this is a fairly easy procedure. Technically, all you're doing is removing a couple bolts, taking out the old sway bar, and bolting in the new one. But there's a couple tips along the way that I'll go through that'll hopefully help you through this process. So as you look at these old sway bar links, you can tell these are definitely bad. This one, the bushing is pretty much gone altogether. And if you have a clunk when you're going over a bump or a pothole or something like that, it's very highly possible that you could have bad sway bar links. There's many other problems that could be caused, but if you check your sway bar links and the bushings look bad, you know. So back to the sway bar link removal, what we're going to do is spray our bolts and nuts with some lubricant just to hopefully increase our chances of not breaking these bolts off. And what I'm going to do here is remove the front tire just to give you a better view of what we're doing. But for the purpose of doing this on your own, you should not actually have to remove your front tire. At least on this car we didn't, unless you need to remove it to get to the bolts on the particular vehicle you're working on. But we'll actually want to leave the tire on when we're installing the new sway bar links so we can put some pressure on the suspension to get the sway bar lined up. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So next we're going to simply remove the old bolts holding the sway bar link in place. So there's going to be 2 bolts on each sway bar link that you're going to have to remove. And now you can see that basically the top bushing was completely gone and the bottom bushing was pretty much at the end of its serviceable life. So now basically we cut to having the front sway bar link installed. What I did is I bolted one side of the sway bar link on, and then I lowered down the car. Once the wheel was back on, of course, I lowered down the car, adjusted it until it lined up with the sway bar so I could connect it to the sway bar. As you lower the car down, it'll adjust basically the height of the sway bar, so you should be able to lower the car down to a spot where you can line it up with the bolt and install your new bolts. And now we're going to go back to the rear sway bar links. So again, we're going to put the car up in the air just so we can see what we're doing. The sway bar links were already removed in this case, so we're just going to install the new ones. So first we're going to put in our lower bolt just to get a sway bar in place. And next what we're going to do is just lower down the car just a little bit at a time to just kind of try and line up that bolt hole so we can get that bolt in place through the sway bar link and the sway bar. As you can see, the compression on suspension will bring the sway bar link down, and then you should be able to line it up and install your new hardware bolts. And of course you're going to want to tighten up the bolts to the manufacturer's specs. And here you can just see a picture of what the sway bar link looks like after it is installed. And just as a side note, if you wanted to see kind of how the sway bar runs, here you can see the sway bar runs up above the exhaust and over. There are basically just 2 bolts holding the sway bar in place besides the 2 linking it to the sway bar links. So if you are also putting in an aftermarket sway bar at this time, just kind of giving you an idea of where it's located on this Subaru WRX. And that's about it. Again, it's a pretty simple procedure. Basically, you're just unbolting the old Swaybar links and bolting in your new ones. But I just wanted to give you a feel for what it looks like on this vehicle. And if you are looking for any other how-tos for Subaru specifically, we have Brembo big brake install and also an STI side skirt install video. So if you want to check those out as well, that'd be great. Thanks so much for watching.